Eli Kynes swore under his breath as his escape pod systems finally died. The emergency beacon had failed hours ago, leaving him adrift in an uncharted sector. 3 days since the pirate attack on his transport vessel, and his prospects for survival dimmed with each passing hour. The sudden shadow that fell over his viewport wasn't a hallucination. A freighter, alien in design with curved, iridescent hull plates, materialized from the darkness. No insignia, no identification markers, not a rescue vessel, but at this point, Eli didn't care. Hours later, he stood in the cargo bay of the mysterious ship, his pod salvaged and his life temporarily spared. The air carried a faint scent of ozone and something else, like cinnamon but sharper. The sole occupant of the vessel approached with measured steps. "You are fortunate I detected your pod's residual heat signature," she said, her voice melodic yet somehow flat. "Your technology is primitive." Eli studied his rescuer, humanoid but definitely not human. Valera stood nearly 7 feet tall, with silver-blue skin that seemed to shimmer under the bay lights. Her eyes, 3 of them arranged in a triangle, were solid violet without pupils. A ridge of small, crystalline formations ran from her forehead to the back of her skull. "I'm grateful for the rescue," Eli said, extending his hand in what he hoped was a universal gesture of peace. "I'm Eli Kynes, engineer aboard the Helios transport." Valera regarded his hand without taking it. "I am Valera Tsemorin, sole operator of this vessel. I have no interest in your gratitude, human. Your presence is unexpected." She turned abruptly. "Follow, you require sustenance and rest." The ship was spacious, yet eerily empty, designed for a crew of at least 20, but occupied by only 1. Valera explained nothing as she led him through corridors lined with strange, pulsing lights. "Your vessel was attacked," she stated rather than asked. "Pirates, they wanted the mineral shipment. Most of the crew made it to the escape shuttles, but my pod was damaged in the evacuation." Valera nodded once. "The nearest outpost is 17 cycles away. You will remain here until then." She showed him to a small galley, provided him with food, a nutrient paste that tasted better than it looked, and finally to what appeared to be her quarters. A single room dominated by a large, strange-looking bed. Its surface rippled slightly, like liquid mercury but solid enough to support weight. "You will sleep here," Valera announced. "I don't want to take your bed," Eli protested. "I can make do anywhere." Valera's third eye narrowed slightly. "You misunderstand, we will both sleep here." Eli's expression must have betrayed his confusion, because Valera continued, her tone unchanged but somehow more intense. "My species requires neural synchronization through sleep cycles. The bed contains fibers that facilitate this process." She gestured to the strange, rippling surface. "It has been many years since I have synchronized with another being." "I don't understand," Eli said cautiously. "My people suppress emotion through neural discipline. Without periodic synchronization, the suppression becomes difficult to maintain. It is not a matter of desire, human. It is necessity." Valera's hand moved to a control panel, dimming the lights. "No sleep tonight, Eli Kynes, would be detrimental to us both. Your human mind is different but compatible. The synchronization will not harm you." As Eli hesitantly approached the bed, Valera added something that might have been reassurance, though her tone remained flat. "There is no need for physical contact. The neural fibers will do their work regardless. But you must understand, this is not an act of intimacy by your human standards. It is survival." As he laid down on the strange, rippling surface, Eli wasn't convinced. The bed conformed to his body perfectly, and a warm, tingling sensation spread from his spine outward. Valera lay beside him, her breathing measured and controlled. "Close your eyes," she instructed. "The first synchronization can be intense." Eli complied, and the darkness behind his eyelids suddenly exploded with color. Eli's consciousness drifted through unfamiliar terrain, a landscape of crystalline mountains under 3 moons. He felt nothing at first, then a sudden rush of emotions that weren't his own. Loneliness, discipline, yearning. Behind these, a presence watched him cautiously. "Valera," he called into the mental void. Images flashed before him. A younger Valera training with others of her kind, learning to suppress emotions through rigorous mental exercises. A ceremony where crystal shards were embedded into her skull, completing her transformation into a warrior. the exile she chose rather than continuing to live without feeling. Eli instinctively reached toward her consciousness, offering comfort. In the physical world, their bodies remained separate, but in this neural landscape, something unprecedented happened. His empathy brushed against her disciplined mind, causing ripples of sensation. Valera's third eye snapped open. "You must withdraw," she commanded, her mental voice suddenly anxious. "You cannot." But it was too late. Their minds had synchronized beyond the standard parameters. Eli felt her fear, her confusion, and beneath it all, a desperate longing for connection she'd denied for decades. When Eli woke hours later, Valera stood across the room, her back rigid, hands clasped behind her. "What happened?" he asked, sitting up slowly. The neural bed rippled beneath him. "You breached barriers," she said, her voice carrying the slightest tremor. "Humans are unusually receptive to neural synchronization. I did not anticipate this." Eli swung his legs over the edge of the bed. "I saw your memories, felt your emotions." "Impossible. My emotions are suppressed." "Not anymore," Eli said gently. "Not completely." Valera's hands unclenched, then reclenched. "This is unprecedented. The neural synchronization should be superficial for non-Valkyrie. You should not have accessed my memories." "Is that what your people are called? Valkyrie?" She nodded once sharply. "We are warriors, diplomats, merchants. We control emotion to enhance logical thought." "But you're alone out here," Eli observed. "Why?" Valera approached the neural bed, her movements measured. "I chose exile rather than complete the final suppression ritual. I maintain control, but I wish to retain the possibility of feeling." Her third eye fixed on him. "You should prepare for the day cycle. We will reach the mining outpost soon." But they both knew it was a lie. The outpost was days away. That evening, Valera hesitated before the neural bed. Perhaps alternative arrangements. "We both know that won't work," Eli said. "You need this, and honestly, after feeling what you've been through, I want to help." Her silver-blue skin flushed slightly darker. "It is dangerous. The synchronization deepens with repetition." "I'm not afraid," Eli said, settling onto the rippling surface. Valera finally joined him. "Then we continue, but be warned, what begins cannot easily be undone." As sleep took them, their minds met again in that crystalline landscape. This time, Eli felt her cautious exploration of his memories. Earth's oceans, his childhood home, the loss of his parents, his search for belonging among the stars. In the mental realm, their consciousness took form. Eli appeared as himself, while Valera's mental projection revealed what she truly was beneath the warrior discipline, radiant, her eyes filled with the emotions she'd suppressed. "You are not what I expected," her mental voice whispered, softer than her physical one. "Neither are you," he replied, reaching for her hand in this shared dream. When their fingers touched, something bloomed between them. Understanding, connection, the first tendrils of something neither had words for yet. In the physical world, their sleeping bodies shifted closer, drawn together by forces beyond conscious control. 5 nights of neural synchronization changed everything. Valera no longer maintained the rigid posture of a Valkyrie warrior. Her movements became fluid, her voice carrying subtle inflections. Most striking was her laughter, rare and surprising, emerging during their third shared dream when Eli showed her memories of his disastrous first spacewalk training. "This is wrong," she said afterward, though her eyes, all three, sparkled with life. "Valkyrie do not experience emotion this way." They sat in the galley, sharing a meal that Valera had actually taken time to prepare rather than dispense from automation. The taste was complex, vibrant. "Is it wrong?" Eli challenged. "Or just different from what you were taught?" Valera's hand trembled slightly as she set down her utensil. "You don't understand. Our entire civilization functions because we control emotion. Before the suppression protocols, we nearly destroyed ourselves through passion and conflict." "Or maybe that's just what they want you to believe," Eli suggested. "Control isn't the same as elimination." Her crystalline ridges seemed to shimmer. "The elders would consider this corruption." "Is that why you're in exile? Because you question them?" Valera rose abruptly. "I must check our course." But she paused beside his chair, her long fingers hesitantly touching his shoulder. The contact sent a jolt through them both, physical touch amplifying the neural connection they'd established. Later in their shared dreamscape, Valera showed Eli the truth. Not memories this time, but the present, her growing emotional awakening manifesting as colors spiraling through their mental landscape. Fear, curiosity, defiance, and something warmer, deeper, pulsing between them. "I've never felt this," she confessed, her mental form moving closer to his. "Even before suppression, nothing like this existed for me." "What is it?" Eli asked, though he suspected he knew. In answer, she pressed her forehead to his, their minds merging deeper than before. Sensations cascaded between them, her awareness of his physical form, his appreciation of her alien beauty, mutual desire transcending species barriers. When they woke, tangled together on the neural bed, the physical and mental boundaries had blurred. Valera's hand traced the line of Eli's jaw with wonder. "This changes everything," she whispered. Their lips met, hesitant at first, then with growing confidence. The neural bed beneath them pulsed with energy, enhancing every sensation. Valera's silver-blue skin glowed faintly in the dim light as barriers, physical and mental, dissolved between them. Afterward, lying together in a new kind of intimacy, Valera suddenly stiffened. She sat up, her third eye widening in alarm. "What's wrong?" Eli asked. She moved to the ship's console. "Valkyrie transmission," she said, her voice tight. "Directional beam, they've found us." "How?" Eli joined her, seeing incomprehensible symbols flashing on the screen. Valera's expression darkened. "The neural bed, it's registered with central authority. Any abnormal patterns trigger automatic monitoring." She turned to him, genuine fear in her eyes. "They know what we've done, what I've become. And that's bad. It violates the most sacred Valkyrie law. Emotional awakening is forbidden. The punishment is—" She couldn't finish. Eli took her hand. "Then we run." The pursuing Valkyrie vessel appeared as a sleek, predatory shadow against the stars. Valera's freighter, built for cargo rather than speed, struggled to maintain distance. "They're hailing us," Valera announced, her newly expressive face tight with worry. The viewscreen activated, revealing a stern Valkyrie male. His three eyes showed no emotion, and the crystalline formations on his head were larger, more developed than Valera's. "Exile Valera Tsemorin," he intoned flatly. "You have violated Directive 7. Neural synchronization with non-Valkyrie species is forbidden. Your emotional containment levels indicate critical failure. Return to Valkyrie space for immediate reprocessing." Valera straightened, summoning her warrior training. "Elder Calmer, I reject your directive. My neural patterns are my own." The Elder's third eye narrowed slightly. "The human has corrupted you. Both of you will submit to examination." His gaze shifted to Eli. "Your species is dangerous. Your empathic capabilities were unknown to us." Eli stepped forward. "She hasn't been corrupted. She's been liberated." Calmer's expression didn't change, but his voice hardened. "Prepare to be boarded." The transmission ended. "We have minutes before they're in range," Valera said, fingers flying over the controls. "They'll use paralytic fields, then neural disruptors to sever our connection." Eli gripped the console. "Can we outrun them?" "Not in this vessel," Valera hesitated, "but there's another option, dangerous, forbidden, but possible." She led him back to the neural bed. "We can deepen our synchronization beyond anything the Elders have experienced. If our neural patterns fully align, they cannot separate us without destroying both minds." "That's suicide," Eli protested. "No," her hands framed his face. "It's transformation, something no Valkyrie has attempted in centuries, complete neural integration." The ship shuddered as the pursuing vessel fired a warning shot. Valera's three eyes held his gaze. "This connection between us, it was never supposed to happen. Humans shouldn't be compatible with our neural technology. But you are. What if that means something? What if we're meant to show my people another way?" Eli knew the risks, but also felt the truth of her words through their growing bond. "What do we do?" "We synchronize one final time," she said. "But deeper than before, beyond memories, beyond emotion, we merge consciousness itself." As they lay on the neural bed, the pursuing ship drew nearer. The bed's surface rippled more actively than before, responding to their heightened emotional state. Valera pressed her forehead to Eli's. "Whatever happens, know that you awakened something in me I thought lost forever." Their consciousness merged as the Valkyrie ship locked onto them with a tractor beam. Their merged consciousness expanded beyond the confines of their bodies, beyond the neural bed, beyond the ship itself. Eli and Valera existed as one entity, experiencing existence through shared perception. The Valkyrie pursuers boarded the freighter, moving with efficient precision, neural disruptors ready. But when they reached the quarters with the neural bed, they stopped in confusion. Eli and Valera lay motionless, surrounded by a visible nimbus of energy that the neural bed had never generated before. Their minds had transcended the physical, creating something new. In this expanded state, they perceived Elder Calmer's suppressed thoughts beneath his disciplined exterior, not emotionless at all, but filled with fear. Fear of what they represented, fear of change, fear that the entire Valkyrie system of control was built on lies. Together, they reached out mentally, bypassing the physical entirely. "We see you, Elder, we see the truth you hide." The Elder's mental barriers, formidable as they were, couldn't withstand their combined consciousness. The synchronization field expanded, touching each Valkyrie mind aboard the vessel, breaking through centuries of suppression. One by one, the boarding party dropped their weapons, overwhelmed by the emotional awakening cascading through their neural pathways. Memories long suppressed surfaced, childhood joys, loves lost, grief never processed. Elder Calmer fought longest, his discipline almost prevailing, until their merged consciousness showed him what they had discovered together. The neural synchronization wasn't about suppression at all. The original Valkyrie technology had been designed for connection, for sharing emotional burdens, for collective healing. Somewhere in their history, this truth had been distorted, the technology repurposed for control. When Eli and Valera finally separated, returning to individual consciousness, they found the Elder sitting beside their bed, crystalline tears, unshed for decades, falling freely. "How did you do this?" he asked, his voice carrying emotion for the first time in his adult life. Valera sat up, keeping her hand intertwined with Eli's. "We didn't. You did, all of you. You were ready for change." Over the next hours, as the Valkyrie aboard came to terms with their emotional awakening, the truth emerged through shared memories now accessible. The suppression had begun as temporary, a way to end a devastating war centuries ago. But those in power had discovered that an emotionless population was easier to control, to direct. The temporary measure became permanent doctrine. "What happens now?" Eli asked as they stood on the bridge, watching more Valkyrie ships approaching, not as pursuers, but as seekers, drawn by the spreading awakening transmitted from mind to mind. Valera's expression held wonder and determination in equal measure. "Now we rebuild, not just Valkyrie society, but something new, a bridge between our peoples." Elder Calmer, his formal rigidity replaced by thoughtful purpose, nodded. "The synchronization you achieved, it should have been impossible. Human neural patterns were believed incompatible with our technology." "Perhaps that was another convenient belief," Valera suggested. "Another way to keep us isolated, controlled." Eli watched the approaching vessels, each filled with Valkyrie experiencing true emotion for the first time in generations. "So much for no sleep tonight," he said with a smile. Valera laughed, the sound now natural and free. The beginning of something much greater than sleep was lost. Her 3 eyes, bright with feeling, met his, and found. As their lips met, the neural connection between them pulsed with possibility. Not just for them, not just for the Valkyrie, but for a new understanding between different minds across the stars. What had begun as survival had become revolution. What had been forbidden connection had become liberation. What had started with 2 beings sharing a strange bed had changed the galaxy forever. Retry Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.